Welcome to my 307 SEM Vodcast on managing sports organisations. I have chosen to do my case study on Wasps rugby, and the two theories that I will be talking about are structure and conflict. Aims and objectives. Aims: to demonstrate the critical understanding of how sport organisations operate and how managers can influence the performances of these organisations. Objectives: to use key theory on the organisational structure and conflict in specific sports organisations such as Wasps. To come up with future recommendations for Wasps on how the club can improve in both the structure of the organisation and the forms of conflict it has. Introduction. So Wasps was founded in 1867, where they have recently celebrated their 150th year anniversary. In 1923 they moved to Finchley Road, and in 2002 moved to Adams Park in High Wycombe. Back in 2014 Wasps moved to the Ricoh Arena here in Coventry. They have been crowned European champions twice, English champions 6 times, and compete in the Aviva Premiership. Organisational structure can be defined as the manner in which the tasks of a sport organisation are broken down and allocated to employees or volunteers, the reporting relationships among these role holders, and the coordinating and controlling mechanisms used within the sports organisation. The three key dimensions of structure are complexity, formalisation, and centralisation. Complexity is defined as how differentiated an organisation is in terms of how many layers it has. So there are three key elements of complexity. These are horizontal, vertical, and spatial differentiation. Specialisation refers to the simple repetitive tasks done by trained specialists in their field. Departmentalisation refers to the multiple divisions in an organisation for efficiency. These can be product, function, and geographical location. Vertical differentiation refers to the number of levels in the organisation. And lastly, spatial differentiation refers to how geographically dispersed an organisation is. So here is Wasp's structure. Structure is an important element of an organisation, as it is the backbone of a business. Things such as communication and key decisions are influenced by this, and if an organisation has a poor structure, the organisation can go into decline. So Wasps have both a horizontal and vertical structure, as there are many business functions across the board, such as commercial, finance, and marketing. On the other hand, it can be seen as being vertical due to the amount of layers the organisation has, ranging from Derek Richardson, the chairman, down to the first team players. Formalisation. This refers to the documentation such as the rules, regulations, and policies that dictate the workings of a sport organisation. Wasps have a high formalisation due to it being a much larger sports business since moving from Adams Park to the Ricoh Arena. For instance, the Ricoh Arena has a much larger capacity due to from Adams Park, and therefore when Wasps moved they would have had to create much in-depth health and safety procedures, as they will be looking after far more fans. The issues that come along with this are that when making new policies and regulations it can be very time consuming, and also in terms of the Data Protection Act of 1998, conflict could arise between the club and charities and fans. For instance, Wasp's policy is that they cannot sign merchandise and give it away. So this could create conflict between charities. Centralisation. This refers to the level in the sports organisation hierarchy where decisions are made. Wasps have a decentralised organisation as decisions are delegated to lower levels of the hierarchy. For instance, the director of rugby, Di Young, is responsible for all the aspects of the professional playing side at Wasps. So, for instance, decisions such as new player signings or the matchday squad, they're all down to Di Young and not the chairman of the club. Although this is the case for Wasps, the theory behind this is that all power filters down through management levels. The contextual dimensions. First one is strategy. So in 2015, Wasp's marketing strategy was to accelerate growth and revenue targets, which would lead to sustainable, profitable growth for the future. The size of the organisation is between 200 to 500 employees, and the Ricoh Arena has a capacity of 32,000 people. The environment refers to suppliers, competitors, partners, and sponsors of the club. Lastly, technology. In 2016, Wasps made a deal with Ericsson as their new IT provider so that they could improve the Wi-Fi coverage as well as the stadium's operations on match days. How to manage structure. One way to manage structure could be for managers to hold one-to-one and group meetings with their employees to find out if there are any issues and needs for improvement within the organisation. Managers can then feed back to the directors and chairman on what needs to be changed, improved, or even eliminated. This would create a clear understanding of the organisation's structure in terms of employees' responsibilities and decision making, as well as making communication much clearer. So if you were to do analysis of WASP structure, you could use a SWOT analysis, which would require the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the organisation. Now on to conflict. Conflict is the potential or actual existence of differences of opinion accompanied by some emotional response to individuals and should be managed but not necessarily discouraged. So a few of the examples of conflict I'll be talking about are Wasps moving from Adams Park in High Wycombe to the Ricoh Arena in Coventry, the Leicester City Tigers ambush marketing tool, and a poor run of form in recent games for Wasps. By slacking parent, one method of categorising conflicts that can occur in a sport organisation is to distinguish conflicts that take place between subunits at the same level of the organisation. So in this case, horizontal conflict. So this could be conflict between two business functions such as the marketing and finance department, from those that take place between different hierarchy levels. So in terms of Dai Young, the director, and the group CEO chairman. So the one example of conflict I have are Leicester Tigers using an ambush marketing tool by putting up a billboard outside the Ricoh Arena. So for conflict to occur, all parties must acknowledge the conflict and must involve two or more parties in opposition. So in this case, the conflict is between Wasps and Leicester Tigers. One or more parties must then engage in blocking behaviour. However, in this instance, Wasps have simply ignored their marketing tool and concentrated on creating their large fan base in the Midlands area and not to worry about their competitors. In doing this, it would have caused Wasps a lot of frustration as there is competition over fans in the Midlands area, with many clubs being in the area. Conflict between employees. So Temkin and Cummings sought to investigate how conflict was managed using the organisational communication conflict instrument. Their study found that both volunteers and paid staff preferred non-confrontational conflict resolution methods in situations concerning organisational issues. This could be a great example to use in doing this, as it could create conflict between students that are in the WASP Student Ambassador Programme. How to manage conflict. Conflict between the fans and the club. So due to injuries which has caused a poor run of form games for Wasps in recently, their resolution for this was to sign players on a short-term contract as a backup in case of more injuries, and hopefully to gain better results in the future. Wasps resolved this as they signed a South African international forward on a 3-month deal to replace an injured player. Recommendations. So for structure, organise department meetings for employees to sit down and talk to their managers about any problems they may have in regards to their responsibilities and decisions within the workplace. They can also review current progress and performance of employees to better themselves for the future. This will give employees a better understanding of the business structure as well as who to go to when they have problems. It also result in managers and other people with higher authority the opportunity to change the structure and operations. In doing this, it will improve communication within the organisation. Conflict. Wasps could allow fans the opportunity to have their say on the issues within the club so that fans would feel more part of the club and the surrounding rugby community in Coventry. This would allow key decisions to be influenced not only by the management and the chairman, but the stakeholders of the club, such as the fans. Wasps could also organise and finance travel for long-distance travelling supporters. So when the Wasps moved from High Wycombe to Coventry in 2014, the majority of their fan base was based in the London and High Wycombe area. So obviously when they moved, a lot of fans were not happy about that due to the amount of travelling they would have to do. So in order to keep those fans, Wasps could set up coaches from Wycombe for fans that live in that area. Lastly, they can continue to utilise the marketing strategy in order to grow their current fan base in Coventry and the Midlands area to fend off any competitors in the future from marketing themselves in Coventry. Thanks for listening to my presentation.